launch oneFOX. So I think they'll be trickling in here any second now. In the meantime, we'll enjoy some smooth beats. Hey, Brian, I just invited you up on stage. GM, sir.
Hey, yeah, this is nice.
Oh, yeah. If we're lucky, the timing will work out where right when the song fades out, we're ready to start. Who all is joining from Ichi today?
We should have our operations lead, Daniel, and 37 Aces, Nick, or CTO. So check out, invite them up.
Awesome. Ethan, if you'd like to come up. Oh, he just popped out.
Oh yeah, get Ethan up, community lead.
Sweet. Ethan, you are invited to the stage. And then Brian, do you see there's a Zoom link that was posted in the stage chat? We can use that for anything you guys want to share.
Oh, okay, Daniel, can you get your slides in there? In just the one slide, and then the link to it as well.
Oh, I think the end of the song is coming up. This could work out. All right, I see DH Tall. Daniel, you're invited up. Look at that timing. Awesome. All right, welcome everybody. I think if anyone else joins, you can still bring them up on stage. But I think we got some good quorum to kick this off. Thank you everybody for joining for the Ichi oneFOX AMA. Today's an exciting day where together with Ichi, we will be launching a stablecoin, oneFOX. So today is our opportunity to meet the Ichi team once again, who they already did an excellent AMA with us before to share an overview of the oneFOX token with the community. Now today we have the opportunity to revisit with them, see how things have evolved since we last checked in, and talk about the launch of oneFOX today, and get clarity on what that means for ShapeShiftDAO, what that means for Fox token holders, and how any of us could mint oneFOX and stake it for some juicy Ichi rewards.
Hey, awesome. Thank you so much. This is Brian with the Ichi community. I also have Daniel on stage, Daniel Tall. He does operations for us. Ethan does community, and 37 Aces is our CTO. So we all showed up today. Happy that this day is here. It's been a long time coming in some ways. So the StableFox token, again, just to recap, money has three main functions: store of value, unit of exchange, and unit of account. We never thought that it made sense for different communities to govern the different functions of money, but that's what's happened in crypto. You kind of store your Fox tokens, but if you want to participate in a consumer application or run a business, you use USDC, or you go back to fiat, depositing to either Circle's bank account, using your the regular government money. And we thought every community should have their own currency, all the features of currency. So that's what StableFox is meant to do for the Fox community, the Fox DAO. You could think of the Fox token as the hoard of gold, backing your new dollar. We moved off the gold standard with the regular dollar. Now you can have this dollar, this Fox dollar, the StableFox, that is backed by this precious commodity, the Fox token itself. So you don't have to sacrifice all of the interesting incentives in your DAO in order to create applications that can be used by anybody at extremely low friction. And as those applications, the dollar value within them increases, the Fox token becomes more and more scarce. So I'll just stop there and see if anybody has any questions on the value proposition before we get into what we're launching today and what happens later this week.
Thanks for that great overview, Brian. I'm curious. I feel like you guys probably have such good knowledge of just the overall stablecoin space, and there's a lot of different, varieties of stablecoins. Maybe something that would help the community really grok oneFOX is comparing it to, some of the other popular types of stablecoins that are out there today.
Yeah. So there's the most important comparison possible. You have to sell your Fox tokens to get all the rest. I don't care which one it is and how they built it. You have to sell off your Fox tokens to get it. You have to buy Fox tokens to get stable Fox, and that's just incredibly important. So that's what I meant when I said crypto's created this kind of dysfunctional thing where when you want to actually spend money, you need to sell off your crypto. We don't think crypto should be sold off at all.
And can you talk about the collateralization ratio? So like if you want to go mint DAI, how much crypto do you need to lock up?
Yeah, so getting past that, again, that's the most important comparison when you think about stable coins. And in that sense, ICHI is this model is the true maker for the Fox community, whereas all the others take your value. But then there are a lot of other technical nuances. One of the most important things in order to make a competitive stable coin is something called capital efficiency. That every single one of those stable coins is minted for exactly $1 of value. And DAI breaks that principle. So and most people put in an average of $3 of collateral per DAI created. If you go the most capital efficient route, you put in $1.01 of USDC. And because of this capital efficiency problem, DAI has less than 4% market share in spite of having first mover advantage. The stable coins that have the other 96% market share are all perfectly capital efficient. You put a fiat dollar in a bank account, and a bank creates the asset on the blockchain, on your behalf. So this is USDC, TUSD, BUSD, and another 200 plus varieties. They all want you to put your money in their bank account, and then they give you an asset on the blockchain. And the major advantage there is it's very capital efficient. You get exactly $1 when you mint. ICHI is also minted with exactly $1. You will end up paying $1 for every minted stable Fox, but you pay that dollar in two parts, part Fox tokens and part USDC. So that minting ratio can change. One of the things the Fox community has done is you guys have enabled a minting ratio that's 10x better for your community by pre-depositing Fox tokens, over collateralizing it, not at the time of minting, but ahead of time. So as a result, you'll be able to pay in, I believe, Daniel, correct me if I'm wrong, is it 20% Fox tokens? Daniel, you on stage?
I believe it is 20% Fox tokens.
Yeah. So if you hadn't made that deposit, you would only pay in 2% Fox tokens to get started. Because of that pre-deposit, you'll pay in 10 times more, 20%. And as the Fox community continues to grow and as the Fox token becomes more scarce, all of those deposits will increase in value against the dollar, because quite frankly, everything increases in value against the dollar. And as that over collateralization grows, you'll pay in more and more Fox tokens, just driving that virtuous cycle.
Got it. So DAI is minted with ETH, and you have to over collateralize it. Stablecoins like Tether minted with fiat, or at least they're supposed to be backed 1-to-1 with fiat. And then oneFOX is backed by a mix of USDC and Fox tokens, and as more the collateral in the treasury grows, then the ratio of Fox to USDC increases. Can you talk about what happens with the USDC and Fox that's deposited to mint oneFOX?
So that's the second big benefit of ICHI, is that you create this community governed AUM, assets under management. So when you deposit your fiat dollars to Circle's bank account, you don't get to govern what happens to those fiat dollars. When you deposit ETH to mint DAI, you don't get to decide what happens with all the ETH, right? You transitioned it to MKR governance. When you deposit Fox tokens in USDC, stable Fox, it's governed by your DAO. You now have assets under management, and the real power of that is that now you don't have to pay for liquidity anymore. You can route that into liquidity pools to support the Fox asset. You could route that into lending pools to provide better supplying and borrowing for your community. You can route that into DeFi insurance to provide coverage for your community. So those are just some of the early things that you can do with it, but you can see that you're only limited by time, imagination, and resources to drive this forward for your community.
That is pretty special. And to tie it into this other hot topic right now for a tokamak reactor, if we get a Fox token reactor, then the DAO could choose to allocate the Fox backing oneFOX to a tokamak, the Fox token reactor, could earn toke rewards, and then toke holders could direct that Fox liquidity wherever they see most beneficial.
Correct.
We got some questions coming in from the audience. Mogi asks, does this mean that the DAO will be able to start paying out bounties in oneFOX?
Yes. As soon as it goes live today, you can mint your first stable Fox and start paying bounties in it. It works just like any other stable coin. So if you have a reserve of USDC sitting around to pay people or something like that, convert it to stable Fox and start earning ICHI today, or in 48 hours, right? There isn't a reason to continue to just have that value drain from this point forward.
That's so cool. So anyone will be able to go mint oneFOX, including the DAO. And ultimately, it'll be up to the Fox token holders to decide if we want to mint some oneFOX. But as a Fox token holder, as a community member, I'm certainly bullish on that. I think, let's say we get 2 million USDC from the success token, then we could take 2 million of USDC, 400K worth of Fox, and turn it into 2.4 million of oneFOX. And then we can pay out a stable coin to our community that benefits the Fox ecosystem. And while we hold that oneFOX, we can stake it and earn ICHI rewards for the DAO. So I'm pretty bullish on that, and I hope that once oneFOX is live and available for minting, we'll see some proposals once we have some USDC to parlay that USDC into some oneFOX.
Yeah, this is going to be a really ripe conversation for our Treasury Committee that is forming of what to do with these various Treasury assets and when to convert to oneFOX and how to use that as we acquire more stablecoins and other assets in the Treasury. So that's probably forming within the next week or so. It's in ideation right now, but I think this is going to be a hot topic for them with oneFOX going live today.
I want to call out one really awesome thing about this deployment and how it's different than all the rest. From the very beginning, and this is credit to Mr. Nerdhair because he was the one who brought this up. There's actually no money being transferred from the control of the Fox DAO to the control of the ICHI DAO. From the very beginning, the multi-sig that helps execute the DAO's decisions is predominantly controlled by the Fox DAO community. Oh, maybe Nick, 37 Aces, perhaps you could just say a little bit about the novel design proposed by Mr. Nerdhair for that, and what you've learned from putting that together.
Sure. Yeah. So we primarily are using and in the past we were utilizing Gnosis safes with multi-signers to do all of our governance transactions, but we weren't scoping the type of things that you could and couldn't do. So those people held all the power. So we were Mr. Nerdhair brought up a security architecture recommendation that we implemented that allows us to scope what we can and can't do as individual signers to the DAO for the transactions that may need to be done without a vote, and then also it allows us also to take on transactions that are executed by the DAO itself, by the ShapeShiftDAO.
Yeah, you could see that Mr. Nerdhair pasted it in the background, and you can see it in the Zoom call. But yeah, it's just, I mean, I just give him a kudos, right? Like I think that's amazing. We've already pitched it to other DAOs with great success, so it's becoming an ICHI feature now. So that's obviously incredibly valuable to us. I appreciate that.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Just to give the layperson a brief overview, the goal is that the assets under management have to be managed by somebody, right? Like, you know, there's some active management that has to happen faster than the proposal cycle for effective oneFOX treasury management. So there is a 4 of 6 now multi-sig that is a committee that executes treasury actions that ICHI recommends. But due to this setup, while they can steal all your money, they can't change the rules of the game. So the oneFOX will represent a claim on a single USDC from the treasury. If the signers misbehave, it'll all be have a 48-hour delay stuck on it, so there will be chance for the community to catch it and revert that action. Anyway, I'm proud of it.
You're the man, Mr. Nerdhair. Thank you so much for proposing that. And yeah, what an elegant implementation that enabled us to not change any of the actual smart contract code and just use these awesome plugins that are available to Gnosis Safe. It was really awesome. And yeah, I really appreciate you keeping an eye out for the whole community. We're very lucky to have you as a Fox. All right, there was another question that was asked and it was answered in the audience, but good to clarify. So Apagalipto asked, can we buy through TipCC as soon as it's released? How to buy oneFOX? I definitely think that once we get oneFOX, we can get it added to TipCC. Also, potentially, we'll end up bridging some oneFOX over to XDAI so we can do tips with lower fees. I think that will likely make sense because I'm sure if the DAO wants to pay contributors on Colony with oneFOX, we'll need to bridge it over to XDAI anyway. And I really like Daniel's suggestion, Daniel mentioned that, yeah, not only can you buy oneFOX, but you'll be able to mint it just with USDC and 20% Fox. So $1 of USDC and Fox will get you one oneFOX. Also, there will be trading. So Daniel, can you talk about the Uni V3 pool that you anticipate? And Daniel, I think if you're talking where it's not coming through, we might be having some mic issues over there. But this is exciting. So the plan is to...
Okay, I'll
go ahead, Brian, please.
So the token will go in the UI, the ICHI UI, this afternoon. About 48 hours later, rewards will start. So it's good to just go ahead and get in early and deposit to the reward contract. So you actually just two-step process. Mint the one token with mint the oneFOX with 80% USDC, 20% Fox. Step one. Step two, go to the deposit tab and put it in there. Deposit it. Now, once that amount minted reaches, let's say 1 million plus, at that time, the multi-sig we just talked about can execute a transaction to take some of the USDC deposited, supply it to Uniswap v3 in a oneFOX USDC pool. At that point, you have two options. Option one, purchase on Uniswap v3 with any asset, ETH, Bitcoin, Fox tokens, whatever you feel like, deposit, just simply swap for the oneFOX, or mint it, and then deposit. Those are the first, early actions that typically happen in the first couple of days as we get enough assets under management. And then longer term, people called out the correct thing. You want to make it as easily available, as low cost as possible to just use as currency. So I loved all the ideas mentioned. In fact, I'd like to continue to learn from the ShapeShift community to enable other communities to do all those same things. So let's get going.
Let's DAO it. So to be clear, there will be ICHI rewards just for staking oneFOX, not needing to deposit into a liquidity pool. But and will there also be ICHI rewards for liquidity mining on Uniswap v3?
No, we basically, the liquidity gets created on Uniswap v3 as part of that assets under management. So you could take the oneFOX, you could pair it with USDC, supply it there as well, and earn trading fees. But we just found that you per reward ICHI spent, you get more assets under management if you simply reward the deposit. Plus, our deposit contract, mint contractor, more as efficient than supplying liquidity to Uniswap v3 as an individual LP. You just save dollars on. You just want to pay less in gas expense and get the rewards.
And it's awesome that you guys have, experience doing this with a few other pilot projects and have learned, you've been tracking the analytics closely and have learned a lot from that. Can you talk about some of the impact you've seen from the other one tokens that you guys have launched so far?
So it's still early in the project, but some of the best things we've seen is in other DeFi projects. So with Wing.Finance, which is a V1 token, they used it as an asset in their lending platform. And what that meant was that now the people using the lending platform, before there was this thing where people would supply dollars to their lending platform, they would get rewarded in Wing tokens and sell the Wing tokens so that they could deposit more dollars. Now the people depositing dollars have to buy Wing tokens. They still pay Wing rewards, but those rewards are offset by the minting of the dollars themselves. So that's fantastic. We're doing the same thing with the Dodo team, so it's pretty exciting there. We have one Dodo USDC pool there, and we're talking through ways to adjust their rewards program and really save the protocol a lot of value in incentivizing liquidity. With DAOs, this is actually, I would say this is the first pure DAO launch that we have, but we're super excited about it because, like I said at the beginning, I think that the core thing about DAOs is you want your community to have fully usable currency to save, spend, and do with it as they please. You want to govern all of the value backing that currency, not just a little bit of it or none of it. So yeah, we'll have to invent where this heads.
Yeah, and I love where your head's at. You fully convinced me that, you know, any opportunity that the DAO has, anytime that the DAO needs to do something with stablecoins, you know, why not do it with oneFOX rather than some other stablecoin that doesn't benefit the ecosystem? So I'm on board with that, and yeah, I'm excited to see all the ideas that the community can come up with for how to maximize the utility of oneFOX and all the different
Now
ways
we have
use it.
one really exciting idea to kind of run by you guys for the first time today. We've been this idea has been in stealth. We've only shared it with one other community so far, and they were super excited about it. But given that we've got a great contingent from your DAO here, we'd love to share with you, you know, a compelling use case that we've created for StableFox.
Yeah, we'd love to hear it. And are you guys planning to share any visuals alongside this as well?
Yeah, Daniel has this is how raw it is. Like, we really have a sketch. Daniel can show that in the Zoom call. And then maybe I'll kick off why we built it, and then he'll walk through the details. Tell me when you have it up, Daniel.
Daniel, let me know if you're not able to share screen. You should be able to.
Figure.
There we go.
Okay. So I see a number of people have joined the Zoom call. I'll just try to jump into it again. I just want to talk about why we built it, and then have Daniel walk through some of the details. So ICHI started out in November of last year as primarily a liquidity farming project. You know, we call it was ichi.farm at the time instead of ichi.org. We actually invented this competitive liquidity farming game. And we partnered in the first 3-4 months with not just one or two, but 6 different top automated market makers. And we learned all of their liquidity farming programs and options and utility. And to that end, I did join the Fox DAO's economics or committee, but I haven't been able to attend many of the meetings. But we had a few major, I would say, extremely problematic pain points with liquidity farming. One of them is that you get this kind of mercenary capital. Like, the people who are actually bullish on your token don't want to participate in the plan, because if the price rises, then they end up, you know, with fewer Fox tokens. Same with ICHI. So they're like, I'm just going to hold my ICHI off to the side. I'm going to stake it. I don't want to be in the program. Meanwhile, there's this cottage industry of near professional liquidity farmers who see it as a pure transactional activity. I'm going to provide my liquidity. You provide me with your governance token as rewards. I calculate my yield and I sell every 3 days, every week. And you have this constant selling pressure. The last problem is that current approaches to liquidity basically create an index of your asset against other assets. So the Bancor team was the one that really brought this to my attention, because Bancor has $100 million plus liquidity pools with ETH, dollars, USDC, and wrapped Bitcoin. And therefore, the Bancor asset, BNT, is an index of those 3 assets. Like, it's impossible without very high purchase pressure or very high selling pressure to break that correlation. You know, even all the centralized exchange listings can't really break it. So the best outcome of current liquidity farming is that you spend your token in rewards, people sell it off, and you produce an index with some slippage against the other major assets in the market. I'll stop there on the problem and just see if there are any questions on that, or at least how I see it. And then I'll just say what we did to fix it.
All right. Any questions in the stage chat so far? All right. Let's hear about the solution. I think we're all clear on the problem.
Yeah. So now that you have a oneFOX token, we created a specialized vault for Uniswap v3 called an Angel Liquidity Vault. And that oneFOX token can be added as single-sided liquidity, so the other asset being the Fox token. And what this does is it directly incentivizes a buyer of last resort. Which, by the way, anybody holding the Fox tokens is actually worried about that. Can I sell it later? There really isn't a problem with people thinking, you know, will I be able to buy enough? Like, they know they can buy. They're worried about whether they can sell. And this places dollar liquidity beneath the Fox price. So the best thing about that, now that you have the oneFOX, is that when that dollar liquidity is added, Fox tokens have to be purchased to add it. So if you incentivize that dollar liquidity beneath the price, you kind of get it free, because you know, any rewards paid are more than offset by the Fox that's locked up, right? So that's the basic structure. There are a number of other benefits Daniel will walk through, but again, it's to concentrate buy-side liquidity, increase the liquidity floor, and increase these assets under management for the project. So I'll just stop there and see if that made sense before Daniel walks through some more of the mechanics.
Okay, so I'll do my best to kind of summarize a little bit, but the big benefit I heard here, which is pretty amazing, is that you guys have figured out a way to, you're still paying for liquidity, but the returns earned from the liquidity outweigh the cost of incentivizing that liquidity. I still don't.
Basically, people.
Yeah.
So say you needed to pay. You just make up a yield. You needed to pay X% yield to get somebody to supply the dollars. They're also paying in 20% Fox tokens to mint those dollars. So the rewards you're paying are either partially or fully offset by the purchase pressure created in the market. And then as that liquidity floor improves the Fox token's price, over collateralization further builds, and the minting ratio further drops. Right? So more and more Fox tokens are paid in. And then as that is over collateralized, you actually have more of the community assets under management direct to liquidity pools at no expense.
Wow, this is some serious alpha. Thank you for sharing this, Brian, and for walking us through this. This is really powerful. And to put it into context, I know, like, just yesterday we were working on a spreadsheet to calculate the price of liquidity, basically. And we're looking at these different various options for incentivizing liquidity, and basically breaking it down, calculating, you know, what is the price per $1 of liquidity per day, and comparing, you know, versus our current program, looking at this some other opportunities that are like 22x as efficient for the same amount of liquidity per day. But this is pretty amazing. This actually flips it so that it's a beautiful virtuous cycle, and and we can actually you know, effectively have not only free liquidity, but even liquidity that ends up being profitable to the treasury overall and increasing the value of the treasury. And that is pretty phenomenal. I know a lot of different projects are trying to come up with solutions to just the liquidity mining 1.0, how we can evolve it, how we can make it more efficient, more of a win-win. And this has got to be one of the most novel approaches I've seen so far. So This is really exciting.
Yeah, there are a lot of projects that are doing this DeFi 2.0 trend. We were kind of ahead of them. They can't match the offer unless they create purchase demand as you deposit the liquidity, right? With other things like say Olympus, it's a really awesome deal, but you do sell your tokens at a discount. It's the opposite of purchase demand.
Right. The Olympus Pro can potentially create, additional sell pressure on the token itself, but this actually creates the opposite. It creates buy pressure to offset that. So that's pretty phenomenal. How soon will this be available? Is this something that is pretty much ready to go and just needed to be? Go ahead.
We're launching the first one with ICHI mid-month, maybe the 20th. The first project we talked about it also jumped at it, so they'll be nearly after that, and then obviously we hope to include ShapeShift as soon as we can get through your governance process again. Or I don't know if it goes to an economic or liquidity committee or has to go through a full vote. But if whatever the process is, I think that's the long pole here. It's not execution on our side.
So what would it take for the ShapeShift DAO to proceed with this? What kind of transactions do we actually need to execute?
You basically have to, whereas we're incentivizing deposits of oneFOX to get this bootstrapped, we can't afford to incentivize liquidity for every project. So it's that agreement to incentivize this vault token in your farming contract, right? Again, those rewards should be offset by the purchase pressure of Fox. You still have to pay them or nobody will do it.
Got it. And so we just need to, just similar to how we've done with the other farming program, we need to do our calculation and figure out what we think will be a healthy amount of Fox rewards to incentivize this liquidity. What type of APR do you think would be a good target for us as we try to project the optimal farming rate?
It's tough to say because it is a new vault, right? But I guess with the way that I would see it is you deposit just dollars. Under most circumstances, you end up with a mix of, let's say, 20 or 30% Fox tokens and 70, 80% dollars if you withdraw. So people, they'll still primarily have a dollar weighted position as that liquidity stacked under the price. They will be exposed to Fox price if Fox price drops. So I just think that we have to see how liquidity providers think about that. If they, and what yield they expect, but we'll learn as we launch the first projects, I guess.
On that note, too, for the Uniswap V3 pool, since it's going to be like-kind assets, it's USDC with oneFOX, and the price should stay in a pretty tight range. Do you guys recommend doing this at the 0.05% fee level when we create this pool?
I think that you may even ramp the fee on Uniswap V3 to 1%, generate more yield. That's probably where we'll test it first, because what happens is this dollar pool on Uniswap V3 will create purchase pressure on the other AMMs. Some people will just go and purchase from this pool directly. What normally happens, like most trades in DeFi, are automatically executed via arbitrage. And if you can, a percentage of people prefer the Uniswap V3 UI. I would try to start off by just producing high yields for liquidity farmers, just collecting more fees. And if you wanted to drop the fees later, then do that.
Interesting. Yeah, that makes sense. I was thinking the opposite, but yeah, that makes sense.
You have to pay less rewards if they get higher trading fees, right?
Right. And that's pretty significant difference. It's 20x the trading fees that would be generated at that fee level. And from what I'm hearing is that it'll be more beneficial if we have higher returns for liquidity providers than having lower fees for the traders. Because ultimately, I think what a lot of that trade volume is going to come from is people who are seeking those liquidity pool returns. So that's pretty wise.
Yeah, I think that a smaller user that just wants some Fox tokens probably purchases it on a centralized exchange or one of the lower slippage pools. Here, what you're really trying to do is establish this new liquidity floor and this upward price pressure. The more rewards that go to LPs, the better that works. We'll experiment with multiple levels and see, I guess.
Got it. Thanks for explaining that. All right. Is there anything else you guys wanted to cover on the Ichi vaults? I think you said you might have had a few more mechanics you wanted to dive into.
Oh, maybe I'll just see if Daniel, you think I didn't cover anything. I think those were good questions and we ended up covering a lot. Well, we haven't heard from Daniel this whole time, so I'm not sure he can talk.
Blink twice if you're okay. All right. Well, we did this. This is relevant, I think, to a couple other questions that popped up in the chat. So maybe we can stall for a bit. And there have been a few questions around layer twos. Could oneFOX be bridged over to XDAI or Polygon was a question that Ron asked. And I think part of what he's wondering too is he said, would it still be convertible and transferable to XDAI USDC or Polygon USDC?
Yeah, so we, a number of different minting and strategies will be used with layer twos. But I think that the simplest way to get started is to incentivize a pool on the other side or some form of deposit on the other side. But yeah, probably a pool so that people move the asset across the bridge. Or just simply creating an inventory there yourself. So that's the way that most stable coins go to other layer twos. What I like about it is that assets under management are fragmented and they have the best exposure to DeFi yield opportunities. Right? So if you go and mint in multiple places, you're going to have essentially two groups of assets under management, and then you have double the you fragmented that fund, if you will. Now, if the fund's significantly large, maybe that doesn't matter. When just getting started, you're probably just going to be able to generate higher yields. The funds are stored together that are backing the dollar. And what you're really doing is you're just creating more places to use the dollar so that more funds are backing the dollar. Does it make sense?
Yeah. So we can definitely, bridge it over to other chains and establish liquidity on these other chains. But the only place that you'll be able to redeem oneFOX for USDC is on mainnet.
I also think that's kind of the fiat-backed stablecoins have kind of given us that model. Like minting is this really complicated industrial action that occurs at hundreds of millions of dollars at a time. I don't really know anybody who's minted USDC or Tether. So I don't really know that minting is something you want to educate tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people on. It's just something that arbitrage agents and advanced users take advantage of with lots of capital.
That makes sense. So we might see, people with larger bags minting oneFOX and then providing liquidity with it, hopefully, and then the average retail user might not actually mint oneFOX, but just buy it on an AMM and then
they don't know where it came from, but when they acquire more of it, the industrial user has to buy more Fox tokens to replenish the supply.
say that part again. So the industrial user has to buy more Fox tokens to replenish the supply.
If
What
like
is
a
the
bunch of
incentive
retail
mechanic? Yeah.
Yeah, if a bunch of retail users start buying it, depositing it, using it, right? The price arises above $1. The industrial user is going to mint millions, collect a few bips profit. So they'll buy Fox tokens in large quantities in a single transaction, mint it, collect a few bips profit, and repay their flash loan.
Got it. And you mentioned earlier that a lot of the ARB stuff happens just automatically by bots. Is that, are there any bots basically watching these one token ARB opportunities yet?
Well, we made one that's profitable back into the treasury itself. So,
Oh, that's awesome.
It's not really an automatic bot yet. It is one of the actions the multi-sig can take, is to use the assets backing the dollar to arbitrage on Uniswap v3.
Very cool. There's some more alpha I know we've got some community members that like building these ARB bots. So it sounds like there's an opportunity for an automatic ARB bot. Yeah. Very cool. And someone asked too, just what is the gas cost to mint? And I think we posted an example there, but I think that also helps just paint more color to it, that although it's not a cheap transaction, which unfortunately right now nothing on Mainnet is really cheap, it is a transaction that might not be something that the average retail user has to pay for. More of these industrial users can do it. They'll be incentivized to do it, and the average user can just pay for the swap fees, which are lower than minting. Cool.
I don't think that it's that much more than swapping, though. Our version 2 contract is pretty gas efficient with minting.
Cool.
But Nick, do you have a comparison there, just to what?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what the cost for a swap is comparatively, but I will say that, and I mentioned this in the chat, that majority, the oracles that we're using for Fox in the system now is a Uniswap v2 oracle, which does create more gas costs for minting. Once we establish more liquidity of Fox on Uniswap v3, we could bring forward a proposal to update the oracle to a Uniswap v3 oracle, which is more gas efficient, and it offsets the updating of the oracle away from minting and into anyone that is swapping or trading on Uniswap v3. So it reduces the cost essentially of minting by doing that.
Yes, yeah. One more benefit of getting your Ranger liquidity vault is that you'll be able to switch the oracle to the gas efficient Uniswap v3 oracle.
Nice. That's a nice cherry on the cake. Cool. And you mentioned, just want to make sure we're clear on this. You mentioned that you guys would be launching this for ICHI in about 1 month, and then
like the 20th, I think.
The November 20th.
It's like 9 days.
Oh, nice. Very cool. And then how soon would you guys be ready for another project to launch?
In the following week or week after. Yeah.
Awesome. So this sounds like a really good topic for the Treasury Management and Diversification Committee that's being formed to discuss. Cool.
Can I ask some questions?
Yes, please. I'm just going to ask. Thanks, Josh.
Yeah, cool. So mine are probably pretty simple, even like going back a little bit in like the whole process here. But I've been finding when I ask these what I think are really simple, dumb questions that a lot of other people have them too. So I got that I understood the mechanics there where like a retail person wants to buy these and the price goes up, and then the industrial sees the ARB opportunity there and can do a big swath and with just a small margin can make a good profit on it. So my question is, on the retail buyer side, is that mostly being done on Uniswap or the AMMs out there? Is that how the small people like me would purchase oneFOX who aren't going to go through the process to mint it? We'll just buy it with other tokens that we have?
Correct. Yeah, you can purchase it with any token So after we create that Uniswap V3 pool, which again is something we do typically after 100 million have been minted. So I mean 1 million have been minted. So we basically need to get to the 1 million minted threshold, make it available on Uniswap V3. Once it's available on Uniswap V3, the trade link on the deposit page. If you click that trade link, it will deposit the correct asset in Uniswap V3, enable you to swap any crypto
Yeah.
for the stable Fox.
And then what's the incentive for the normal, just again here, the retail buyer to have oneFOX? Is it then because the rewards, do you earn ICHI rewards just by staking oneFOX? Not, you don't have to do LP, is that right?
That's right. So right now we don't know what the APY or APR will be on this, but on the other one token deposits right now, it's about 50% APR. So it is in terms of market risk, dollar balance earning 50% APR. We obviously hope that APR goes down with more and more deposits.
Right.
So in the early days, it might be a very nice return.
And especially for stablecoin deposits, it's really competitive, and I'm not aware of any other opportunity to deposit stablecoins and get yield like we're seeing with these other one tokens. So definitely compelling.
One of the I guess good things or etc. is that the people in the ICHI community heavily favor holding ICHI and staking it to converting the ICHI to dollars and earning yield. We don't market widely to other yield farmers because they just sell off ICHI when they show up. So I think that's what has produced the very high APY for dollar deposits.
And then similar on for the retail, the way to be able to trade your oneFOX for anything else is again just through the AMMs that exist. And we will also, in the plan here, is that our treasury, I think, Willie, our plan will be that the DAO treasury, the ShapeShift DAO treasury, is going to mint some of these, and then we can start paying bounties and maybe salaries with it. But that is going to create sell pressure on the oneFOX, because the expectation is, if it's salaries anyway, we know that people are going to be selling that. So should we be thinking maybe some salaries should actually be in a pure stable coin like USDCs?
Go ahead, John.
I was going to say, I think as we get into those discussions, and these are a lot of the things that I think the Treasury Management Committee will need to discuss moving forward, is that the committee will probably the Treasury should probably hold some mix of various things. Like some oneFOX, some USDC, some DAI, some ETH, some wrap Bitcoin, obviously plenty of Fox. And I think when it comes to paying workstream salaries, what I would like to see personally is workstream leaders talking to their teams and giving people some choices around these things. Yeah. So people, if they are just planning to sell directly for fiat, yeah, I think that should generally be paid in a more classic stable coin like USDC or DAI or something. But some of them might want to mix. I know Tyler had spoken up about this on the operations work stream. He might want to be paid 50% in Fox and 50% in stables. And basically, I think it behooves the DAO to basically pay people in things that, when we know they're going to sell it, yeah, pay them in a classic stable. But if they're interested in either reinvesting it or holding it, then oneFOX could make sense. Maybe they want a third Fox, a third oneFOX, and a third stables, depending on what their goals are. So yeah. I think there could be room there depending on each individual and what they want. What we don't want to do is pay someone a bunch of Fox and oneFOX just for them to go sell it all. So I think those are conversations I'd like to see the workstream leaders have, and make sure that work streams are aligned with what those goals are to most benefit Fox holders.
I think that just in my opinion only. I mean, trying to predict what everybody may do with an asset is kind of tricky. Like you really don't know whether they're going to sell it all. So selling it, don't really care. Like this isn't the same as selling off Fox tokens where you have an instantaneous price change in the market. If they sell stable Fox for USDC, who really cares? Doesn't matter. You know, so what does matter is there's gas expense in executing that transaction. So that's where I think the layer twos, probably prior to paying people with small quantities, want it on a layer two so that they can convert it to whatever they want as cheaply as possible. You don't want to just cause them gas expense. But you don't really care if they need euros and USDC, as long as it can just convert easily and cheaply.
How would the you know, in your descriptions here of the retail and the industrial players, how would the industrial players react, or the ARB bots react, if there was a lot of oneFOX being sold? So therefore, on the AMMs, the price of oneFOX drops, right? Becomes less than 1 USDC. Does that cause the industrial players to act in some way to sell Fox?
No. What happens is, in this case, an industrial player could create a bot to take advantage of maybe a drop between 99.5 cents.
Yeah.
If it's above that, and say it's 99.8 cents instead of $1, the treasury backing the oneFOX is a competitive advantage, and that it pays the redemption fee to itself. It would purchase the oneFOX on the market, increasing the price, and then with the assets backing oneFOX, and then simply redeem it, burning it and paying itself the redemption fee. So it would profit there, and there would be less USDC in the contract because it did that and purchased it on the market, but it had no effect on the Fox price.
Yeah, I see it in a similar way, Brian. I don't see any inherent sell pressure from paying out in oneFOX versus like USDC.
There's no minting and burning of Fox tokens like with an algorithmic stablecoin. In this case, the risk metrics don't even change when people redeem.
But I do think, yeah, John, your point stands that this should be something that workstream leaders discuss. But I think does help to have clarity here that paying out in oneFOX does not inherently result in any Fox sell pressure. The only instance in which Fox would be sold by the oneFOX treasury is if the price of Fox were to start decreasing significantly, and then the treasury would need to rebalance and trade some Fox for USDC to ensure that it can meet all of the outstanding oneFOX redemptions. But that's an extreme case.
I think these are just good conversations.
Or another extreme, if like 80% or like 50+% of oneFOX was redeemed and you were no longer happy with the mix of assets backing it, right? Something like that too, I guess. But it's just we've never seen that happen in over a year of doing this with multiple projects. So it's just like this edge case. Normal usage and paying people, is, you can always come up with like hypothetical edge cases for anything. But under normal usage, paying people in it makes no difference other than that they may have gas expense converting it to what they want if they want something different.
Also, this is a good note. Mr. Nerdhair just mentioned, I don't know if the whole community knows this, but Mr. Nerdhair mentioned that the DAO would need to sell Fox for USDC to get to that 80-20 mix. Can we share the agreement that the offer that you guys made earlier?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
So traditionally, other projects, they do need to pay 160K worth of 80% USDC, 20% their token to mint some initial oneFOX, which is then loaned to ICHI, I believe, for 12 months. But ICHI has been. So when we saw that there wasn't something that was immediately clear necessarily. It was in the proposal, but we heard from some community members that they didn't quite understand that Fox would be being sold for USDC to launch this oneFOX. And obviously we're all interested in not selling Fox on the open market for USDC. We try to avoid that wherever we can. So we were talking about it with the ICHI team, and the ICHI team was really awesome. They said, you know what, we're so bullish on Fox and we're so excited about this partnership that don't worry about sending us 80% in USDC. Just send it all in Fox, and we will hold Fox, which was really amazing. So really appreciate that, and I think Mr. Nerher, that should address your concern there. We're not creating any self pressure for Fox by launching this oneFOX token, and in fact, the hope is quite the opposite. So thank you, ICHI.
Yeah. So the initial concerns when you meet another team is, what expense is this going to cost your project, right? So we always try to split that expense. But yeah, just meeting your DAO and meeting your team. If you had given us USDC, we'd just go out and, if we were allowed, buy the Fox token. So it's better for us to think what you're doing is amazing and rather have the long exposure.
Really appreciate ICHI team, and I think what you guys are doing is amazing as well. Really excited for this partnership and to get myself some more ICHI tokens. And also, it sounds like there's an opportunity for us to maybe do a party together at ETH Denver. You guys are going to be out at ETH Denver. I think that'd be awesome. I would love to get the marketing teams talking to start coordinating
Ethan's on the phone. He lives in the area, and he is going to plan that party with you guys. We want to help host it. Amazing.
Let's do it, Ethan. It's going to be lit. Can't wait to hang out with you guys there.
Let's DAO it.
Let's DAO it. Yes, thank you. And yeah, we're at the top of the hour. So I think I just want to end it by just getting clarity on kind of like what are the next steps. When can the community, mint oneFOX? When can they stake it? When can they buy it on Uniswap v3?
So the UI goes live later this afternoon. We'll start to get some press coverage, putting out some announcements. So hopefully that won't be missed. 48 hours later, rewards go live. You know how Ethereum is. Try to get your transactions done early in the morning so that you get more stable Fox and the rewards start and don't have to pay as much in gas.
Awesome. And then how soon after do you think we'll get the Uniswap v3 pool going? Is that something that ICHI will help set up, ShapeShiftDAO will set up?
Yeah, so it's a little tougher because you have to coordinate, again, the Fox signers. ICHI will set those transactions up, but it has to be executed by the Fox signers. So we'll just a little more double checking than normal, making sure everybody understands what happens there. I think it's fantastic, but yeah, that might add a little delay, but normally it's, when we see it hit like 1 million circulating, that's our trigger for setting up the transaction and getting the sign off. And then if it continues to go higher and higher and more circulating, we typically do a follow-up order in about a week, just increase the depth of the pool. And what typically happens is the reward rate is steady, and that you don't have to do any more adds to Uniswap v3 after that. Just occasional arbitrages.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for reaching out to start this conversation, for guiding us through the process, explaining everything so well to the community. Really excited for this launch, and definitely planning to go mint some oneFOX as soon as this is live.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you all so much for joining. And we'll see you in the metaverse. GM, everybody.
GM, everybody. Thanks, ICHI team.
GM.